completely. So, hello everyone. Our project for this class for web game design is Fast and Amphibious. So it's by David Dougherty, Konrad Schaller, Ryan Young, and James Davis. For brainstorming, we tossed around a lot of ideas for what the game would be, and it was a great way to get to know each other. We tossed around ideas like Connect 4, Tetris, Billiards, and Jeopardy. And along this list here, you can see some other ideas. One was a ranged game. It's kind of funny. Okay, but we decided on a Frogger clone because we thought it would be fun to create our own version of the classic game. The multiplayer aspect was at first a counterplayer game where an enemy player would send traffic, but we changed it in order to just put scores on a leaderboard. We thought that was simpler. Okay, so for our planning, the second time we met, we exchanged Skype and GroupMe, created a GitHub repository, and then we assigned roles based on like our experiences. So we have David here for organization, Ryan, our lead programmer, and Konrad, he's our asset creator, and also a coder. And I am a creator, and I'm also a designer for this game. And we all took a peer coding approach. You know, like if someone couldn't figure something out, then we'd all look at it just to see like if we could come up with a solution. We had 5 weeks to make a working product. And for our design, we went for like a cartoony style, you know, based off the real Frogger game. We had like purple and green and yellow. The lily pads and frog were made in Photoshop. The rest of this was made in Microsoft Paint. Instead of a water zone, we have 2 street zones. Okay. Initial plans, multiplayer game. Okay, yes, been changed to update leaderboard. We already said that. Okay, next. And core mechanic is to win as many rounds as possible without dying. Must reach a lily pad at the end to win. The frog was kept to go only forward, but we changed that so that it could go backwards later on. We have a competitive atmosphere around the game because it's kind of hard. All right, next. This was our grid, two green safe zones. The rest of this traffic, got to survive at or you're gonna hit. And this is the finish zone. Just you peer right at the bottom when you go through. This was supposed to be a grid with numbers on it, but that's okay. Go next. Okay. Technology, come here, Ryan.
Alright, so what we use in this video game, we use the geolocation API. So this basically uses your web browser to get the location of where you are. And we were thinking about putting this in the leaderboard, but we kind of ran out of time, couldn't implement it. But you can look at your current location by pressing L if you want to. The next one we use is Websockets. There's like a standard one that's like used in JavaScript. So we use this to like communicate with the leaderboards. And then Phaser framework, we use this to build the entire video game. Nothing really outside of it. Everything was Phaser. So yeah, it handled all the collision, the games. Yeah, all the logic too.
So you do have the geolocation API, but you're not using it for the purposes that you wanted to use it for.
Yeah.
So
Currently, if you press L on the main screen or the title screen, it will just say your latitude is this and your longitude is this in the alert, which wasn't how exactly we wanted to do it, but we didn't have enough time to, because we wanted to get country code based off one latitude and longitude. And
sure.
We were running into issues trying to do it. Instead of breaking what we had, we decided we would just focus on other things that were more important for the code as well.
Cool.
Alright, time for a game presentation. This link right here, you guys can all go to it if you want to play it at any time.
Nice.
Alright, let me pull up the game real quick.
How did you guys host it?
Well,
I just went on my Droplet.
so we got some main menu music here.
You turned up hot water. Oh yeah.
There we go. It just takes a second, sorry. And then you can press F to full screen it. L, you say.
That was also done with MS and the background was also in.
You can press M to mute the sound. sounds. Okay. You hit start, and then it allows you to either choose to start the game or view the leaderboards. Right now, we have all the scores up. Sorry. We have the scores up here. A couple of these were us, and then the ones down here, like 8th, 9th, and 10th, were all test scores put in to see if it would actually work in updating. So we're gonna actually start the game now. And then you start right here. After the full screen it. Oh man.
The game board is all randomly generated too, so you might not get the same game board from the same
What do you mean? It's randomly generated.
Like, so what's it called? The vehicles like that are assigned to each row. If we have the grid, you can zoom in. If anyone wants to see, I can show it to you later. But literally, everything is assigned to a specific row, and the row randomly generates the vehicle objects correct based on like a number associated with the vehicle.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, each vehicle has a direction they can go in, and it also has a.
I misheard you. I thought you were leaderboards. Jeez.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
The grid is 15 by 12.
I've had this on the brain show
You
for
have
the
the
past
set
week, so I
squares.
might have spoke.
Where it pops into.
I gotta get like a high enough score so you guys can actually see the leaderboard part.
Is the wind
It's
sound?
kind of hard.
Is the wind sound effect on?
I muted them.
Okay, good. I was like,
just
oh
so
crap,
it
did
gets
something break?
increasingly loud.
Yeah, it's very true.
Okay.
So it says, yeah,
Nice
you made
work.
the top 10, or spacebar, you hit spacebar, it pulls up this second screen right here. You can enter in,
Type in something that's not on the board.
I'm gonna do KOM,
KOM.
you hit go, and then when you go to the leaderboard, you see right here, it actually updated, and I almost matched my previous next score before. Didn't work out that time. But there we go. So yeah, you can update the leaderboard, and it actually will show you the top 10 highest scores on the game.
Update it again.
Did someone put it? Who put?
You should update the
We're trying to have a presentation here. Thank
You should update it one more time and see who's at the top score.
All right. Well,
Do it. I'm honestly curious.
do what?
Update it.
Let's see. Okay.
Oh,
All
no.
right. Here we go.
I don't remember.
Oh, 12. Okay. So, yeah, there we go.
That's great.
You guys want to show us a little bit of the code and
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Here.
Okay,
You guys want to know? Yeah.
So like, you said if you're a two-person group, it's not, it doesn't do that extravagant, right? That's pretty,
I didn't know you guys actually made the bar way too high.
Yeah.
Wait,
I guess we thought the bar was higher than it was.
It is
so-
high. That's good.
Don't worry, everyone.
just everybody else take that into consideration when you're grading us. It's okay, we'll bring it back down though, it's
There you
okay.
go. That's the editor.
you should still have most of it.
All right, just walk us through like the
Yes,
you can zoom in just a little bit so I can actually see what was blind.
Alright, so when organizing this code, we kind of went with object-oriented design with the creation of like the board and all of its components, the vehicle, the rows. So the game board is where everything's at. So it is in charge of creating like the frog, all the rows. We abstracted all the rows away, so the rows would be responsible for spawning a car, and it would be responsible for knowing when to spawn it. So I'll show you that. So here's the game board, and this is the constructor. And we pass parameters where we want to put on the screen, the canvas.
And the game board includes just the spawning of the road and the cars on it, right?
Yeah, game board spawns the frog, the rows, and the background.
Okay.
And the lily pads too.
Yeah, also.
slides of the presentation, we can go to like the folder and show the actual, because
Yeah,
see the other one.
Here's where the.
No,
link
I
was
got the
created.
picture on your way.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one.
And then we create a rows array, and then we call it generate game rows, and that essentially puts random values, passes random values into the row. So it's either a truck, a car going in right or left direction. So
Yeah,
that's
it's all about
basically what it is.
integration.
And well, yeah, we use an input controller to like kind of organize where we want our event handlers to be. So we abstract that to an input controller. And this is where the frog is created. Oh wait, no, it's not the frog. We're just setting the frog that the input controller controls. That's what we do. And we create the frog right here. So we use the enumerations to like kind of like simplify it. So we're not working with numbers. So this is what the frog looks like.
If you guys have any questions on how they did something, if you are interested in seeing how they implemented a certain feature, ask away.
Cool.
Alright, Molly, go.
I was just gonna ask how you worked with the leaderboard, like, did you make like a database?
It's all in memory. When you restart the server, it gets blanked out.
Where is it at, like in the code, like if it gets hit by like, how do you know it's
Collision
hit by
detection.
something?
From phaser.
I think that's gameboard.js.
Like, can you say your question again?
Like, how does, like, where in the code does it say like, oh, if it gets hit by a car, it's over?
It's collision
Where-
detection.
where that-
Phaser.
Yeah, like, how
That's
do
in
you collect it?
gameboard.js, I think.
Yeah.
That's where I put the, it's like, yeah, it's like
Yeah, so.
traffic winds.
Yeah, we have,
Collision detection, right?
yeah, we enable physics on all the spray objects.
Okay.
So during the creation. And up here there's like some handler somewhere.
Make sure it's not in like the vehicle.
Was it in?
I thought it was in there, it's like right above traffic winds, whatever file that's in.
Less than class, that was gonna be one.
I think you've like named it like check collisions.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
like,
everybody's having the same
update,
problem.
it checks to see if there's any collisions with a frog and the sprites. So, I forget what the parameters are for this.
Oh, okay. I think it's like
Oh, okay, here we go. Here, let me explain this. So it goes through each row. Each row has its own sprite, so like, it can have a dynamic amount of sprites at one time. So, there's like, there could be 4 cars on the screen, but they can only be like one show. So, every row has their own sprites, and it's getting all those sprites from the rows, and iterating through all the rows, and then it checks to see if those sprites overlap with the frog sprite. And then it calls traffic winds if it does. And traffic winds just essentially gives the game over screen. So, any more questions? Oh, yeah,
Well, I'll start one more time here.
Did you have questions?
So this is what we were working on here. This is what we were basing off of. That's the grid.
It's 15 by 13? Yeah, it's 15 by 13, and literally it
By
shows.
12. Isn't it?
Well, no, but it's by 0 though, it says 13.
Oh, yeah,
It's
okay.
15 by 13, it literally shows all the possible moves that could happen. That's, the green is the safe, the red is that's the kill, I like where where like the vehicles are. So yeah, that's one of the things we based our mock-up off of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's
Go back to the slides, I think we have like 2 more.
Yeah.
Yep, 2 more.
Actually, can I can you stop here for a while? I just want to get the link to that.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. The website where it's hosted?
Yep.
No problem.
It's FNA, RC, right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Alright, pitfalls and frustrations. So there's a lot. I'm not gonna read them off the board. I'm just gonna tell you personally what I felt were the most frustrating. So literally, like, we had a lot of sudden bugs. Like 10 minutes before class started, we were trying to fix a bug, and that yielded a new bug. And so tensions were really flying, trying to get this working back to the way it was before the bug happened. So like that was kind of an interesting experience because it worked on one system, like it worked on my local, but it didn't work on the website or it didn't work on other people's locals, and it just broke down and we were freaking out. So tensions kind of rose a lot, especially last night. We put in a lot of coding, a lot of coding time. I think we were in the lab from like 2:30 to like
It was about 6.5, 7 hours.
7, 8. So we did spend a lot of time on the project. We didn't really start coding the meat of it until like 2-3 weeks in. We probably should have condensed the planning phase a little bit more and been less ambitious and added on to it as we went. And there's times for this project, like before Thanksgiving break, that I wanted to quit and stop. And I think I told you, I'm like, I want to quit, and you said don't. And I'm glad I didn't, because like it turned out well. Because before we left for Thanksgiving break, we didn't have a working prototype at all. We didn't even have any sprites moving, and so I was freaking out. So it took a lot of extra time over Thanksgiving break to work on it, to get it fixed and in the state it's in. And like, it's also one of those things where me as a developer, I'm a third year, and I think you guys are all fourth years or whatever year you are. I don't remember. Yeah, you're a third year? Okay, never mind. Well, I've got a lot less experience than some of the people on my team, so it was just like interesting to learn new things. I'd never coded a JS class until Ryan said, hey, code the vehicle class, and then I did. So I learned a lot from this project, basically moving in. But we were originally gonna have the multiplayer, and because of time constraints, because originally we thought we were presenting Thursday, we didn't realize, and we had our projects like planned to be basically done with development on that Thursday. But when we found out that we were moved, we had to figure out how to wiggle around to get it to work, and we had to put in some time outside of our normal meetings. To give you this perspective of what we did working on the project, for the past 5 weeks, we've met Monday and Wednesday for at least 3 hours. And the past 3 weeks, we've met for Monday and Wednesday, at least probably combined total like maybe like 7-8 hours between the two, just working on this. So yeah, we barely got it done. Yeah, so that's basically it. It was frustrating, but we couldn't get the font loaded on all the computers, which is what I was sad about. You can switch the slide. Yeah. We've learned that web game design is harder than it looks. Don't stress about the small things and stuff like that. We learned a lot. We learned a lot about each other, and yeah, it was a meaningful experience. And if I ever plan a project in the future, yeah, I know how to do it now. So thank you. That's our presentation.
Okay, that was awesome. I'm not sure, but I don't think I had any expectations for any of the projects, but you guys just really set the bar high, and I appreciate that. Presentation was great. I liked how you actually not just went through your code or just the game, but you also walked us through your planning, your lesson learned, and all of that. That was just that was awesome. Yeah, cool. Thank you. I think you guys now kind of get the idea of where we're trying to go with this. So